Hey everybody, this is Dr. Joe Borio with this week's Thought Flash. And today what I wanted to talk about was leadership in your office as a chiropractor. Because if you meet the patient or member of your practice, or whatever you want to call client, whatever you want to call the people that come into your office, if you meet them at what their understanding is, then they'll never grow and use care in the scheme or in the way that they should. And therefore you'll never develop a lifetime family practice. Let me give you an example in what I'm really talking about. And that is, let's just take back pain. I mean, if you grab 1,000 people across the country and you say, what's chiropractor, what's the point of going to a chiropractor, or God forbid you use the word treat, but what's a chiropractor treat? They're going to say back pain, neck pain. And understand, that's what they're coming in with. So the patient that walks in and says, oh my God, I've got horrible neck pain, horrible headaches, which I get all day long. I mean, in my office, that's what new people often come in with. And that's okay. But if you meet them there, if all you talk is neck and back pain, then they'll never have an understanding beyond what you do or what their concept is or their value of what it is you offer as a chiropractor. So they're going to think, my back pain is there. I'm going to go see this guy or this woman for 20 visits. They come up, right? We all know that. They come up with some number in their head of how long it should take based upon what their girlfriend had, based upon what their dad had, based upon their prior experience going to a chiropractor, whatever. And they'll say, okay, I'll come in 20 times. And if their back pain's gone, they're still going to think the world of you. They're going to think you're great and that you did an awesome job, but they're not going to come in anymore because what's the value of coming in? And if their back pain's not gone, God forbid, right, they're gone too. You were worthless, chiropractic didn't help, and they're gone because you offer them no value again. So what we need to do is lead them. They're here, and chiropractors have to be leaders of health. We have to be leaders and develop leadership qualities in healthcare and wellness care, because that's really what we are. BJ was a leader in healthcare and wellness care. He was the Jack LaLanne, if you will, of exercise. What Jack LaLanne taught us back in the 60s and 70s, is mainstream now. Everybody wants to go exercise and nutrition and so forth. BJ was so far ahead of it. He's 200 years ahead of really where we need to go. And that's how far his leadership was. So by that, what I mean is, if they're here, you need to be here. And here means lifetime family wellness. What does that mean? That means, in the words of Francis Bowen out of Harvard in philosophy, we talked about it last week out of Bob Sinnott's book, what that means is that you are an intelligence served by organs. And I love that. The more I think about that, that is one of the most beautiful lines I've ever read in the description of chiropractic. And it wasn't even said by a chiropractor. You are an intelligence served by organs. So your organs need intelligence in order to regulate and run and cause function in the body. So if you think about your health that way, remember that the neurology of your body is what determines the health of the organs. And if you start talking to people in those terms, where you indicate to the people that walk in your office, now Bob, I'm concerned about your back pain. I know you're concerned about it because you can't walk, but I'm concerned about it because those nerves go to your prostate gland, your bladder, your large intestine, your sciatic nerve, whatever. And by that nerve being choked off, that means all of the messages, the data, the signals, the life that your body's trying to send to those organs, those body parts aren't getting that information, and therefore those body parts are going to get sick. Now there's so much science to demonstrate that, and it saddens me that chiropractors aren't abreast of that. So, there's websites to go to. You could search for it on Google. I'm in the process right now working with a friend of mine. We're coming up with a website just on science of chiropractic. danmurphy.com is another site. You go to free stuff. If you don't want to spend the $100, I tell you to spend the $100 because there's a guy out there doing research for chiropractic. Go to CBP website. You can go to the Journal of Vertebral Subluxation research website. That's $100. My God, there's so much research on that, it's unbelievable. But you start looking at all that research and you realize that just from the Windsor autopsies forward, there is so much data to prove that as the spine sickens and becomes diseased, so too then does the organs. And now we're reading research on loss of curves and cerebral spinal fluid flow and myelinization of the spinal cord itself and the ventricles and how healthy they are by the loss of flow based upon forward head posture. I mean, it is absolutely amazing, the research out there. So we should really be happy and proud and excited about the research that's coming out. And by reading that, what happens is it increases your certainty, it increases your passion, it increases your dignity. I mean, I don't even think chiropractors have dignity and self-respect. And boy, it's sad. It's sad that we're not excited. And I think some of it's your fault. Not to be, hard on you, but if you're not reading the research, about the neurology of the spine and the neurology of the health and how the adjustment improves that, it's no wonder why you're so influenced by so many other factors out there, and that weakens you. I always call it armor and ammunition. I like the idea, and that's one of the reasons I strongly encourage you to join a coaching program. I'm going to be a little biased and tell you ours is the best, but there's a lot of great programs out there if we don't fit for you. But the reality is you need to get some armor, and your armor is going to be your level of certainty. And you need to have some ammunition, and your ammunition means that you need to know this research and this data so that when you're challenged by people and you take some shots and you take some hits, you can certainly have conversation with people in a loving way, in a way that you realize that they don't know any different, where you can hand them papers and show, hey, look at your loss of curve, Mayo Clinic, or Journal of Geriatrics, or Journal of Spine, or here's the Windsor Autopsies, or here's the Jang study, or here's a study out of the neuroscience. And you can just start handing them research to show that when their spine is out or when they lose normal function of their body, that the neurology is affected and they tend to develop more disease. I mean, you could go right to the flu of 1918, the epidemic, and you could read the research by BJ and how the care by chiropractors was greatly far superior to that of the medical approach back in 1918. And I would still challenge that today. I really believe and know that if you put a bunch of people on a chiropractic care, we've got the respiratory burst just with the neutrophil and how it actually, the white blood cell, how it engulfs the virus or bacteria based upon improved neurology. As you improve the neurology with the adjustment, you improve the respiratory burst, and therefore the white blood cells increase their ability to kill infection. I mean, all of that research is there. Why we don't know it? And I went over that with you weeks on the Colter study and the Rupert study on geriatrics. And oh my God, I could go on all day. There's an enormous amount of research, but you need to know that research, and you need to have it in your office, and you need to be able to discuss it. And that's your ammunition. And by ammunition, again, you're not firing a shot to hurt somebody. You're basically offering them some evidence because they need that. You got to understand, they're coming from an allopathic world. They're coming from a sick planet. Our planet is sick in every way, socially, emotionally, spiritually, environmentally, in the degree of relationships. We are sick and diseased, and it's all from primordial subluxation. We think of ourselves as separate from each other. We think that what I do doesn't affect anything else other than me because I'm not connected. When you read the words of Albert Einstein, when you read the words of Buddha, when you read the words of B.J. Palmer, you realize that it's just the opposite. It's so much more opposite than we'd ever think, that we're fully connected to everything, and that everything I do and everything I say and every act I act out affects everything else. Everything is connected. And as a result, what you do and what you say, and equally important, guys, what we don't do and what we don't say affects the lives of millions of people in your practice. So what I'm going to challenge you with here in the last moment is to lead your patients towards a higher consciousness. Listen, Barbara, I'm concerned about your back pain too, but that's an indication that something far more serious and severe is occurring in your body, and I'm concerned about that. And we need to make that area healthier, and then we need to keep it healthier for the rest of your life. Start speaking in those terms. You need to be on a chiropractic care for the rest of your life. Start saying it every day in your office. Have fun with it. They're going to get it. They want it. Don't kid yourself. They're all looking for it. Guys, listen, have a great week. I hope that you register for Las Vegas. We got Vegas coming up. I'm going to be speaking at CalJam in February. Our Vegas seminar is on the 21st, 22nd. We'd love to have you there. This has been Dr. Joe Borio with this week's Thought Flash. Guys, remember, may your innate flow from above down. Have a great week. Serve with passion. Talk to you guys next week.
My best friend gave me the best.